Hello, I'm Brian Matthew Ward.
And I'm Jared.
And this is the Be Kind Rewind.
Sure.
Where we pick random movies, watch them, and talk about them. Some good, some bad.
No, this was bad.
Yeah, we're reviewing Van Helsing. Now, let's get to it.
My life. My job. My curse is to vanquish evil. Now that I have your attention.
Van Helsing.
Well, that was one of the worst 2 hours of my life.
No. There's gotta be worse. So, honestly, what did you think about Van Helsing?
Alright, so my opinion was that they did not have any idea what direction they wanted to go with it. They didn't know whether it was a comedy, whether it was an action, or what it was. And my biggest gripe over everything else is their Dracula was horrible. He talked like this the entire time. Hello, Van Helsing, I will kill you, Van Helsing. Van Helsing, I have no limited movement of my arms, Van Helsing. I am a T-Rex.
Yeah, he was a lower tier Dracula, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You had never seen this before, right?
No, this was my first viewing of this, Jim. Yeah, it was something, alright.
Yeah, I saw this in the theater when it came out. It wasn't any more pleasant watching it the second time. It's not the worst thing on earth. It's just we get some prefacing. I decided to hit Brian with this because Universal is just now launching their most recent attempt at a shared monster universe.
The Dark Universe.
The Dark Universe. And this was the last time they tried to do that, if you don't count Dracula Untold or the Wolfman remake. This one would be the last one.
Yeah.
Also kind of poignant-ish that coming, right on the heels of Logan, to revisit Hugh Jackman's failed franchise.
Yeah. And Hugh Jackman was trying to act a little too hard for the movie he was in.
Oh yeah, Hugh Jackman earned his paycheck in this.
Yeah. And it feels to me like they just spent their entire budget on CG, Hugh Jackman, and Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah, this was the CG-est movie of the CG overload era. We were talking earlier. It was I said it was very much in common with the Underworld movies,
yeah.
Resident Evil, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Very much of an era. It kind of got wiped away the next year with the first Bourne sequel, Batman Begins, Casino Royale, kind of ushering in the more analog style of action. So this was the end of the Matrix era for the most part.
Yeah. And I do not understand why he had the weapons he had in the time period it was in. That don't make any sense to me.
Because he's James Bond. This was a James Bond movie.
Oh yeah, and they had that fake Q.
Yeah, the whole thing was a fake James Bond movie. He traveling across Europe, basically he's a secret agent, except he works for the Vatican. Dracula, I guess it could kind of work if you see him as a Bond villain. If you haven't seen it, this is real bottom-feeding Dracula stuff.
Yeah. And there's parts where I feel like they were trying to copy Bram Stoker's Dracula, but failing miserably. Like certain shots they had, and like for example, whenever they were doing the traveling and you saw the Indiana Jones thing, it felt like they were more ripping off Bram Stoker's Dracula, but Indiana Jones at the same time.
Yeah. I remember the pitch for this when it was being made, following online, was that it was Indiana Jones with monsters.
Yeah.
Which was essentially also The Mummy.
Yeah.
Which was also directed by Stephen Sommers. who I guess was kind of the king of this kind of schlock, because he also went on to do the first G.I. Joe movie.
Oh yeah, that was.
Yeah, they all have that same kind of feeling. He's kind of like a kinder, gentler Michael Bay.
I don't know if I would use the word kinder, gentler, because he definitely. Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
Transformers was terrible, and so was G.I. Joe.
this didn't hurt my head.
Yeah.
So
True. You could actually see what was going on.
yeah, I could tell when a Dracula bride was fighting with Van Jackman.
Van Jackman.
Instead of like two junkyards kind of swirling around each other. Yeah, I mean, 13 years really hasn't made this thing any better. I don't think it's made it any worse.
I'm really glad I decided to skip this one up until now.
Well, now you have it. You can't unsee that.
Yeah, there's some things you just can't unsee.
Which, I mean, the shocking thing about it is that the CG looks bad, but it looked bad in 2004.
I can't get over, for all that CG they did, the ending where he sees Kate Beckinsale in the clouds is literally just like her spliced into
spoiler alert. Kate Beckinsale dies towards the end.
Oh, I'll put spoiler in the title.
Yeah, spoilers be right here. And if you'll insert a picture of Kate Beckinsale's soap opera glamour photo,
Yeah, of
right
course.
in this area, so they can see what we're talking about.
Yes, Kate Beckinsale, glamour photo.
Yeah. Not a lot going on for a 2 hour and 11-minute movie.
Yeah, and it feels like certain parts feels like an end of an episode and then the starting up of a new episode, and like it really feels like last week on Van Helsing, blah 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 happened, which is really nothing.
Dracula Prince.
Last week on Van Helsing, blah 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 blah. Now back to Van Helsing, and then it's the same thing. Blah.
Yeah, like I said, Hugh Jackman earning a paycheck at least, but do you know a bit about the background of this movie, other than it was supposed to launch a whole franchise of Universal?
Not really.
Universal dumped a ton of money into this thing. A lot of what you saw, especially interiors and everything, is practical sets, whereas today they would throw a few props there and just green screen everything else. No, they built those sets, they built some buildings, and they justified the expense as that these sets would be reused for a spin-off TV series and several sequels where they would continue using these sets.
Yeah.
That didn't happen.
Did they use it for anything whatsoever?
The Universal Studios tour, I think. A lot of the studio that they shot on was the same soundstage studio that they shot a lot of the old Universal monster movies on. Wished we were watching those.
I feel like a terrible ex-Universal employee because I don't know any of this.
Yeah, well,
no wonder I'm no longer employed with them.
It was a tax write-off. But no, this is one of the weird situations where literally after opening weekend, they killed the entire franchise.
Yeah.
Before it could get going. It was a tough, span of time for Universal, because I believe this is around the same time they did it with The Cat in the Hat, which was supposed to be their next big blockbuster, and spawned some sequels. Yeah, they killed that one the weekend after, the Monday that
getting
the returns came.
Off subject, I do know that they still have the set for Grinch up there at Universal.
Wow.
I've gone through that. I've walked through that one.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, Brian, we've had a week and a half to recover from Van Helsing. How feel you?
I could have done without it.
Well, no, sir, I don't like it. I'd give Van Helsing a
I give it
10.
a.
You could have just animated the explosion.
Yeah, I could have. That was a thumbs down bomb. In case you guys were wondering. If you guys have any future suggestions for movies for us to watch and talk about, we will take any of those suggestions and watch them and talk about them. You can leave it in the comment section. You can send us a message. And
Don't send me a message.
you can leave it in the comment section. So, till next time, this is the Be Kind Rewind.